share information. And so what a lot of people ended up doing was creating these fairy tales, or sometimes little poems. And in these little poems or these fairy tales, they would transmit a message, an important political message. Okay, and that's one of the ways in which so many fairy tales came about. They actually were hidden messages. And so when we tell our kids fairy tales, yes, we want to boost their imagination, and that's extremely important, but we also want to give them hidden messages about different things that they should know. So let's look at one fairy tale. Let's think about the fairy tale of the Little Red Riding Hood, Caperucita Roja, Little Red Riding Hood. I want you to think about that fairy tale because I think everybody knows it. What would be a good lesson that you could teach your kid, or you could teach a kid from that fairy tale?
Don't trust a stranger.
Okay. And is that something important that we need to teach kids?
Well, obviously. I mean, a kid goes to the street and then someone tells him, "Hey kid, I got candy, follow me." And then the kid follows him, and then they go into this alley, and then...
Yeah, okay. Right. So one of the important things that our parents always tell us is don't talk to strangers. Okay. So focus on that same story, Little Red Riding Hood. What could be another lesson that we could get from that? When she left her house, what happened between her house and her grandmother's house?
Wait, the Little Red Riding Hood had a house?
Well, of course, the story begins when her mother tells her, take this to your grandmother's house, right?
Oh, I think, no, the story I read, she was just walking in the woods, weirdly.
Oh, okay, so even if she was just walking in the woods, she had a house. So something happened between her house and her grandmother's house. What was it? She left her house to go to her grandmother's house. Something happened. What happened? Apart from talking to the wolf, what did she start doing? Okay, so that person left. Okay, so let me tell you the story then, because apparently you forgot. Little Red Riding Hood, okay? Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a little house in the woods. And one morning, her mother came to her and told her, take this basket of cookies to your grandmother's house. And so she took the cookies, but while she was walking to her grandmother's house, she saw all the pretty little flowers, and she started picking the flowers, and then it got late. And then when she remembered she had to go to grandmother's house, she saw a wolf, and the wolf started talking to her. Okay, end the story there. What happened between her house and her grandmother's house?
She saw some flowers and went to
Yes.
pick
So
flowers.
in the original story, she was supposed to go from her house directly to her grandmother's house. But she started playing with the flowers, blah, blah, blah. And that's how she saw the wolf. And that's how she ended up in a conversation with the wolf. So what would be a second lesson that we can get from this story? When your mother tells you to go to the chinito and buy a pound of rice, you don't stop and play and talk to your friends. You go directly to the chinito and buy the pound of rice. That would be the second lesson. So in these little fairy tales, the reason why we tell kids fairy tales is because it's entertaining, because it boosts their creativity, and also because it teaches them lessons. Okay? Now that's important, because within a few minutes, you're going to be telling fairy tales from invented pictures that I got off the internet. Okay, so what is the difference between telling a story to a kid who's 5 years old and telling a story to a 13-year-old teenager? What's the difference? It's the same thing?
No, it's different because when we are little kids of 5 years old, we imagine that we are the persons that are in the story, like we are the first character and something like that. But when we are like an adult or a teenager, it's more difficult to tell us stories because we already know that that's invented, that's not real.
Mhm. Okay. So when you are telling a story to a little kid who's 5 years old, what do you need to do? What are some things that you need to have or to use or to do?
Imagination, creativity.
Mhm. But what do you need? Can I just sit a whole group of 5-year-olds and just talk to them with a whiteboard and like just
Like
Drawings.
mhm.
You need a book,
Mimics.
Uh-huh. What?
mimics.
Yeah, because you need to go like, ah, she saw the wolf. You need to do that with a little kid. They need that. What else? Pictures, drawing.
Toys.
Exactly. And you have to change your voice. Because if you're telling a story to a 5-year-old, like once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a house in the woods. And this little girl, what is a 5-year-old gonna do? It's a burre, and leave, right? Okay. So you also have to change your voice. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a house in the woods. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to spend this entire trimester telling stories. And we're going to start with fairy tales. So what I'm going to do at this moment is that I'm going to show you a picture. And we're going to go in order. So that means that according to what I have on my screen, I have Sean first, then Tomas, then Isabela. No, then Daniela, and last Isabela. So that's the order that we're going to be in. Sean, Tomas, Daniela, Isabela. And I have 4 pictures. I'm going to show you all 4 pictures. We're going to look at those pictures for about a minute. And teachers' minutes are always less than everybody else's minute. So you're going to look at each picture for about a minute. Then you're going to choose one. And after you have chosen one, you are going to invent a fairy tale about that picture. Now, people, your fairy tale has to start with once upon a time in a land far, far away. And then everything else you invented, okay? So your fairy tale has to start with once upon a time in a land far, far away. Okay, how does your fairy tale need to start? Say it.
Once upon a time Once in a upon a land far, time. far away.
Okay, perfect. That's how you're gonna start. You're not gonna start like, well, good afternoon, teacher and classmate. This is a fairy tale. No, 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 no. You're gonna say, once upon a time in a land far, far away. Okay? Got that? Who disappeared? The girl left. She just left. She got scared. Okay, so let me show you my pictures. Let's just look at it silently while you try to figure out if that's a story you want to invent. Okay, so Sean, you're gonna be first. Which of the 4 pictures do you want?
The second one.
Yeah, I don't remember what the second one was, but what was it? What did it have?
I think what that the girl with the wings.
Oh, the little girl with the wings. Okay, let's get that one. Okay, so remember, your story starts once upon a time in a land far, far away. And it doesn't have to be too long. Just make it short. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you ready, Sean, or you need more time?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, so the rest of you mute yourselves, please. Diego Lopez, if you're in this class, I need to see your face. If I don't see your face, you're not in this class. There you go, mute. Okay, let's listen to Sean.
Okay. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a little kid.
her name was Caroline. She lived in a big castle, but she don't want money. She wants to have wings. That was her dream. So one day, she go to a dark forest and talk with two magical fairies and said to the magical fairies that her dream was to have wings. So the magical fairies said that if she wanna have wings, she have to go to the dark to a risk to the risk of the dark forest and find a potion that is gonna make her to have wings. So the little girl go to the risk and find the little potion, but a witch pull her down to a risk and she fall down and she died. Thank you.
Okay, yay! That was a good story. That was a very good story. Okay, let's go with Tomas Carvajal. Which one do you want?
I'm gonna pick the giraffe.
The giraffe. Okay. Okay, remember how our story starts. Yeah, take a deep breath, stretch, drop it.
Okay. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there was this kid. His name was Jonathan Poopy. Then he was walking through a forest because he was bored because there were no cell phones at the time. So he encountered a pebble and he threw it at this big bush because, yes, because he wanted to. So then out of the bush came Winnie Pooh, and then Winnie Pooh, you know what he did?
No.
Tackled him. He punched him in the face. Anyways, but the kid was made of steel because I want to. And then Winnie Pooh's hand
It's a good thing you're laughing at your own story. So?
off, and he was left headless because his hand had some nerves attached to his head. And then the kid realized that was not Winnie Pooh,
Oh.
robot copy.
Mm.
The kid was suddenly attacked by an army of Winnie Poohs
Oh, goodness.
in the forest. The
Mm.
kid crippled, but a few seconds later, he heard a loud boom. And then when he did this, he saw a giraffe.
Okay.
And then the giraffe saved him. So they went to a cliff and the kid, fed him with some grass he found. And the giraffe liked it because yes. But out of nowhere, Winnie Pooh came and grabbed the giraffe's tail. But this Winnie Pooh was different. He was not a robot. He was the actual Winnie Pooh. And then he grabbed him by the tail and threw him off. The end.
Oh, okay. Yay! That was an interesting, violent, inappropriate story. But okay, yeah, good job. Good job. Daniela, which one do you want?
The ring. The ring.
You can repeat if you want,
Okay. Teacher,
Yes.
first of all,
Yes.
I don't like the stories of fairy tale. So if I make it bad, it's my fault because I never heard of this story, so that's correct.
You never heard of Caperucita Roja and Rapunzel and all of these weird princesses?
I read it, but based on the real and scary and spooky stories that have blood and that type of thing.
Yeah, your story doesn't have to be spooky or weird or have blood. Just be whatever you want to do. Remember, this is about talking, okay? So,
Yes.
upon a time in a land far, far away. Go.
Okay. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, was a little girl named Caroline, and she lives in a house in the forest. Yes, in the forest. And she was like going in the wood and seeing what she can do because she was poor. Yeah, she was poor. That's the thing. She was poor, but she was very happy because she plays sometimes with the animals. Yes. So she was walking in the woods, and then she found a ring. Yeah. So she took it and she started to see it. So she took it and went to the home. Yeah. The ring was like a little bit with how do you say it was nasty. Okay, it was nasty.
Okay.
So yes, teachers, it was nasty. Yes, so she washed it. She lives alone. Okay. She didn't have parents. She was very alone. She was lonely. She didn't have anyone. And she put the ring on. And magically, she transported to another land. Yes. In that land, it was like a fairyland because there was like mystic animals that in the world of her in her world they didn't exist. It was like a type of world like of Harry Potter, like that. So the girl, we say that it passed like some time and she stayed there because she didn't know how to get back. So she stayed there a few days. But then she wanted to go back to her world because she get bored of that mystic animals, you know. And so she, first of all, the animals talk. Okay. Well, she talked to an elephant, but because it was an elephant that have wings.
Okay.
So she talked to the elephant, and the elephant said to her that if she wants to get back to her world, she have to get 3 things. First of all, well, no, she have to do 3 things. She have to get, we say like she have to get the tears of a fairy. Yeah. Then she have to get the one feather of like of a big chicken.
Okay, a big chicken feather. Okay.
Yes. And then she have to return the ring to the owner. So she have a little trip and she like get the tears of a fairy because the fairy was sad, no, and she get her tears. Then she steal the chicken's feather and was very sad because the chicken started to cry too because it hurt him.
Okay.
And then it comes the difficult part that was to return the ring. So she started to look and ask and investigate, and then she like knows a little girl, yeah, a little girl without name because she was very mysterious, you know. And they start like talking about the ring, and it was the ring of hair. So the girl, Caroline, gave the ring to the little kid, and the little kid was a good witch, like the Mago of Oz. Yes, the Witch of Oz, yes, like that. A white witch. Yeah, she was of the heavens.
A witch from the
Yes. So the witch returned her to her world, and that's it. She was very happy because she knows very things, and she make a big chicken cry. Finish.
and she lived happily ever after.
Yes.
That was an interest. Come on, people, clap. That was an interesting story. Yes, yes, interesting story. Okay, and let's go to Isabella. Which picture do you want?
The girl with the book.
Okay.
Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, was a little girl named Becca. She lives in a in the forest in a poor house. Um, she she likes to read books about romance, and her dream was to have a boyfriend. She don't likes to be poor, but she that is her situation. And one day she decides to go to the city and look for a boyfriend. And no one's like she. No one's like she, and no one's like her. And she cries a lot because she don't have her family, and she was alone.
Mm-hmm.
And she studied in a school pretty poor in a and she graduates she graduates and she gets a boyfriend named Oscar.
Okay.
They like each other,
Mm-hmm.
but she was sad because she don't have her family. And they married and looked for her family, and her family was dead. And she cries a lot, and she kills herself. Thank you.
Story. Okay. Let me see you clapping. Emo disappeared. Okay. Yeah. So he's not in this class, I guess. Okay, people. So that was really good. And if you pay attention, let me get out of here. How do I stop sharing my screen? Oh, there you go. If you pay attention to your weekly outline, you're going to realize that one of the assignments or your oral skill assignment is precisely to tell a story. And you're going to start with once upon a time. Now, in the story, you're going to send me just an audio. You need to make it short. Your stories were very good, but some of you were very long. Remember that you're talking, oh, he's back. Oh my goodness. You're talking to 5-year-olds. So when you're talking to little kids who are 5 years old, your story has to be like super miniature. Okay, Diego, who's back? Which picture do you want?
The ring.
Okay, give me a second. Remember, once upon a time in a land far, far away. Oh, what's happening here? Give me a second. There you go. Share screen.
Okay. Once upon a time, in a long, long, far away, there was a witch that lived in the middle of a forest. She, because she was very, very ugly, she wanted a beautiful, handsome man. And one day, she saw a ugly and fat and gross frog,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, maybe I could uh, make this frog a beautiful, beautiful man because she was a witch. She could do everything if she wants. So she make it a human, but the human was not so handsome as she expected. It was ugly and also fat, very fat. So she told him to start to do exercise, and then years later he was very, very, very handsome
Mm.
with a lot of muscles and six pack.
That's it?
Well, no, no.
Okay, there's more.
Then the romance started,
Mm.
but something that was very gross for the witch was that when they kissed, the problem was the big tongue of the human because he was a frog. That was very gross. So she cut the tongue of the man. No more kisses for them.
Mm.
So the man was very, very sad about that. And he told her, please, baby, give me my tongue again. And she said, no, you will not have that gross and big tongue because that's very, very strange for me, even if I am very ugly. So what she does, he converts that frog in a ring. And that's the ring that you see in the image.
Oh,
Thank you.
clap, people, clap. Let me, there you go. Let me see you clap.
Thank you.
That was a weird, interesting, weird story, but okay. Good job, Diego. Good job to all of you. As I've told you before, every time we have a class, you get a little number, a grade. I grade you on the class, and I also grade you with the assignments that I send. So in the assignment, okay, let's stop this. In the assignment that you have for these 2 weeks is precisely this. You need to tell me a story, but you need to remember the story is for a 5-year-old. So nobody cutting off nobody's tongue and nobody looking for a boyfriend and nobody, their story was just really interesting, Daniela, but it was long. And no Winnie Pooh punching no robot in the face, none of that, okay? This is a story for 5-year-olds. So in your recording that you're gonna send me for this assignment, you're gonna start with once upon a time, and let's add to the end, and they lived happily ever after. I didn't put that in the assignment. If you don't do it, that's fine. But it would be good because that's how fairy tales begin and end. Remember, you are doing a fairy tale for kids who are 5 years old. Okay, so no killing, no boyfriends, no, nothing like that. They're little kids. Okay, and that's the assignment that you need to send me. So let's review. What are we dealing with? What is the topic for this trimester?
Stories.
telling stories.
Learning stories.
Good. And what type of stories did we tell today?
Fairy tale
Fairy
stories.
tales.
And why do people tell kids fairy tales? Two reasons.
Because they are of fantasy and because they are funny and entertaining for kids.
What else? I gave you two reasons at the beginning. Those of you who are here early, what are the two reasons I gave you? Well, you gave one and I gave the other one. Tomas gave one and I gave the other one.
It boosts their imagination and
Nobody remembers. It teaches them lessons. It teaches them. That's the purpose of fairy tales, not to scare kids, but to boost their imagination and teach them. Good. What type of stories are we gonna be working on next week?
Sci-fi.
Fantasy, sci-fi, okay? And it's gonna be directed to what age group?
Teenagers.
Teenagers. Perfect. And what's your homework? What's your oral skills homework that you need to upload on the platform?
Record audio telling a story of 1 minute. Fantasy.
A fairy tale. No, it doesn't say fairy tale, just a story for kids. But how does it start?
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
Good job.
Land far, far away.
And we don't have to add that part, but it needs to finish with what? And then
The happily ever after.
Happily ever after.
very happy with this group. You're very brilliant students. Okay, so let's pose for the selfie. I'm not gonna upload it, but I just like selfies. So let's take it. Okay, everybody smile at 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Okay, see you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. What is, Diego, what was it? Saturdays? What is this? See you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock, okay?
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.